Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show.
Star Trek: The Next Generation
everybody
was
I interacted
a show
with.
that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation first.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life as a kid. It was the escape from reality.
Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick and Sascha Shouties take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s.
We're watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and you're listening to Next Generation's First Generation podcast, a Star Trek: The Next Generation watch-along podcast. On this week's episode, we will be covering the 23rd or 24th episode of Season 3.
24!
The 24th episode, which is Menage a Troi, a kind of stupid episode at the outset, but it has a lot of good gems hidden within it. With me, as always, is my regular co-host, Sascha Shouties.
Hello! Well, here we go. Let's give you the countdown, and when we reach 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go ahead and push play. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Listen to that DVD player fly.
Another beautiful ship, or view of the ship.
Yep.
We've got the happy music in the background. It's a trade conference. This is going to be
On Mrs. Troy's planet.
Oh, yeah, on Beta Z.
They're kind of having their reception here in 10 Forward. And it looked like the guy from... Stratagem was kind of wandering around there. Lots of goofy instruments. You got Riker and a Ferengi playing three-dimensional chess. One of these Ferengis is kind of funny is Neelix from
That's right.
from Voyager, the doctor on their ship.
I kind of wish that 10 Forward had more diversity on the ship, so...
Yeah, it should look more like the cantina in Star Wars. Carl Sagan always complained that, everybody... Well, he said it about both Star Trek and Star Wars. It was like, everybody in space is white and they look somewhat human. And
on the flip side, when I watch a lot of Doctor Who, I'm like, why is everything happening in London?
Yeah.
What the hell? And I'm like, oh yeah, because it's a British show.
And Picard just, slides in with an immediately racist comment.
Oh.
I didn't like inviting the Ferengi to this.
Wow.
It's like, all of the individual Ferengi encounters Picard ever has, he just counts against the Ferengi as a race. And then he's like, the one person that I really do take issue with, I'm going to be nice about because she's an ambassador.
Oh.
Is Lwaxana Troi.
And the boss's wife.
And she's actually really good in this episode. I don't have a lot of complaints about her in this. People don't like Lwaxana Troi. I'm neutral on her at this exact second. I'm at rather Lwaxana Troi than Q.
Have you ever considered if you had stayed on Beta's edge, you might have been a happier person?
Oh yeah, this is the daughter shaming episode. Why aren't you married?
Yeah, and also the I'm going to maintain an open link with you while I sexually seduce a Ferengi episode.
Yuck.
Find yourself the right man. Think of your future.
Well, the problem with the Ferengi here is that they play the stereotypes, so it's easy to stereotype them.
Yeah.
It's kind of, when you're playing a caricature of a person who is a target for racism, you're going to become a target for racism. And I'm not saying that because you're in a certain way that you should be a target. It's just, it's so easy to hate people when you have folks around you who validate that.
Yeah. And
the maturity of Star Trek, I kind of wish had grown beyond that.
Now, here are our Ferengi whose plan is that the Daimon in the group, there's a Daimon and there's a doctor.
Yes.
And Damon Togg wants to marry Lwaxana Troi. Now, they're orbiting Beta Z, which means that there are probably plenty of Betazoids they could find to marry and do this. And this must have come up in the past. Like, Ferengis must have been like, we can use telepaths or telekinetics to help out in our trade. I mean, what's his name? The guy that we saw kind of get unceremoniously punished earlier this season. He could have made a deal with the Ferengi right away.
That's right. In fact, would he have been able to read the Ferengi? Because they kind of put it out there that you can't, telepaths can't read Ferengis. So, I don't know if you noticed in the background, but we've seen a Klingon. We saw one of the snakes from the Snake versus Dog episodes.
Yes, the Abolian with the same wig as the one that was in the episode where Picard was trapped in the room.
Oh, yeah.
I am not for sale. And if, by some chance, I were to become
Good for her. She's standing up for herself. I am not for sale.
Poor Riker. He's trying to do the right thing. Like, he saw there was conflict between Troi and her mom and split them up. And now he's like, should I have stayed with your mother and let you go about business?
Oh, there's our Neelix actor.
Yep. Ethan Phillips.
So this Ferengi is now very much the mentality. If she says no, that means yes, or I want her more. Which is,
but
it's a little strange.
It's weird that he doesn't actually make a business interaction out of it, because the idea here is supposed to be he'll buy her as a wife.
Did he make an offer? I kind of missed that. He did.
He did. He basically said money was no object.
Now the funny thing is, had we known more about the Ferengi culture like we did in Deep Space Nine, like, hey, he didn't ask her to get naked, he didn't ask her to pre-chew her food, like, that's a very progressive.
But he will force both her and Troi to be naked.
That's
episode,
right.
So.
Okay, so here we go. It's credit time. Season 3, episode 24. This came out in May 28th, 1990. Holy freaking smokes, that's right.
It's so weird that 1990 is 30 years ago now.
It feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there goes life for you. Ron Jones did our wonderful music for this episode, written by Fred Jones and Susan Sackett. Sackett. So, it was also directed by Robert Legato. That's kind of a cool name. Legato.
A cat. Robert the cat.
Yeah, so, anyway, we see a lot of folks in here. We've got Ethan Phillips. So he was known as Neelix, did you say?
Yeah, he was Neelix. He was also on a show called Benson at this time.
I remember he was also in a movie where he was a clone for a celebrity. And the idea was all these clones lived in an underground lair, and then when you won the lottery, quote unquote, they would kill you and harvest you for parts, so the real celebrity can continue living off of like a kidney or a liver.
The title of this episode is Menage a Troi.
Yes.
Which, on Seinfeld at this time, that was a big joke about menage a trois.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, help me out. I actually don't know what menage a trois is.
It's having a threesome.
Oh, okay. That's why it's Riker and the ladies.
Mother, please.
Honestly, this relationship is very real.
Yeah.
Oh, after that awful little Ferengi insulted me, I need to send her.
She is wore
That
out.
awful Ferengi insulted me, and where was your Commander Riker? Just swat him away. Just swat him.
Oh yeah.
I love this. Where all of her titles, Troy's going to go through them, and the Sacred Chalice of Rix is an old clay pot with mold growing inside it.
Well, that could be their sacred sourdough starter right there, for all we know.
Talk to him. We spend so little time together. That's true.
I find it interesting that in all television, when you have a normal person, they're cast as abnormal. You ever noticed that?
Yes.
I was thinking about that when I was watching Rick and Morty last night, how the dad, what's his name? Jerry. He's actually, he's a coward, but he has very realistic responses to things, and I'm like, he's probably the most normal person on the show.
Yeah, that's the thing, is what's his...
a great deal of satisfaction out of my work.
I can't think of the creator's name, but he's pretty much Rick in real life.
I figured that.
What about a family?
Oh,
This is my family.
there we go.
Yes, and this is one of the great things about this show. Is this is a very silly episode, but it cements so many things about the family on the Enterprise that are all going to come to a head in our season finale of Best of Both Worlds.
Well, and the fact that Troi has to establish, this is my family, I'm married to my job, I enjoy the people I'm with.
Live my own life and not the life that you would.
She wants to live her own life. Geez, she sounds like a college student.
Yeah.
Look how you ruined
That reminds me,
ruin anything.
when I was in college,
Very good friends.
my father said, you should get into this IT program, there's a lot of money in it. And I was interested because, I like computers, but because it was my dad giving me that advice, I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that.
Hey, pay attention to the internet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be around for a while.
Well, that was in 97. Holy freaking smokes. And now I know a guy who went through that program that I turned down, and he is freaking rolling in it. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm pretty happy on how things turned out. Oh, it's our good friend, Mr. Will Wheaton.
So Wesley is getting ready for his oral exam at the academy. And what I was thinking as I was watching this episode yesterday is with the original series, your big three were Kirk, Spock, and Dr. McCoy.
Yep.
Had the tight relationship. On Next Generation, it's Wesley, Data, and Geordi.
That's the big three, you think?
Yeah. That are really good, that are really good friends and play off of each other really well.
Honestly, I think just about everybody in this show, with the exception of Gates McFadden, had an on-screen friendship.
Well, she and Picard have an on-screen friendship.
That's true. Yes. Okay, I dial that back. Sorry, but we don't see a lot of it.
No, which makes it the more special when it does happen.
Let's see. We got Picard and Beverly. We've got Riker and Troi. It would have been Worf and Tasha would have been really good friends, I think, had she stayed around. Who's Worf friends with on this ship?
It varies.
Guinan.
Nice matte painting there.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, this is Beta Z, which is also probably Starfleet Academy, but
this is also where the pilot episode of Deep Space Nine was shot, right there by the water, where you'll recognize it when they get towards the bank of this pond. That's where Dax and Cisco were checking things out.
Oh, it's lovely.
There is a space plant that jingles. Looks like they dumped a whole bunch of glitter on it.
Remember koosh balls?
Oh man, yeah, those things were weird.
That's where koosh balls grow, is on
Beta Z.
They said that name sounds so dirty now.
Yeah.
It didn't when I was... There's Mr. Hom.
Now the outfit, how they're all dressed and walking around, would look like a perfect Alice in Wonderland cosplay.
I was just thinking about this, that this is the... This could have been the planet where they ran into the White Rabbit.
Oh yeah, there you go. I mean, with her umbrella. Oh, you don't see the umbrella here, but when she's walking by, she had this big...
Yeah, the parasol.
So, yeah, exactly.
It's like, what's that? A rabbit with a waistcoat and a watch?
I'm late! And he's eating lettuce.
Fat running through the veins. Helps keep it warm.
That's the thing, is I imagine the Beta Zeds have a pretty similar circulatory system to humans, but Troy's looking at her mom like, you're just messing with him. What you gave him is not actually food. It's not going to kill him,
What
but...
happens to me isn't important. I'm much more concerned with other people.
So,
their lives. Mother.
She's basically trying to prod along that Riker and Troi should get into a relationship, restart the relationship. Which we know from the movies, they finally got around to doing it. They got married.
Yeah. Yeah, they got married. Riker became the captain of the Titan, and Troi went with him for a little while.
And no spoilers, but you should watch the 7th episode of Picard.
Right.
To see how that turned out.
As much as we will, as much as we spoil ahead of the rest of the season of Star Trek: Next Generation, I want to try as hard as we can not to spoil anything about Picard.
Uh-oh. So why is he so angry that the Ferengi's there?
He doesn't like Ferengi.
Because I would imagine that's a free planet. If anything, it's kind of like walking up to somebody in their barbecue. I don't think
it might not be a free planet, though.
That is a chest-tastic outfit right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Majel Barrett's cleavage in this, and
I like it.
I'm gonna say it. Makeup has come a long way since 30 years ago, because
so now
you can see every wrinkle and fold and divot on that woman.
Well, you should be proud of that. He's like,
poor Mr. Hom.
Where'd they go?
Now later on, they say that they just disappeared. He should have been able to articulate that he saw them get beamed off the planet. But when he tells the Beta Z government about it, it does not. It makes it sound like he showed up and they were gone. The way he walked into that shot, it looks like he saw what happened.
Well, think about it this way. When our crew wake up in a new environment and they don't know how they get there, what's the first thing to do? Computer, stop program.
Yep.
So it makes me think, well, if someone disappeared, okay, they're not a few hundred yards around where we're at. Oh, they must have beamed out. Like, that was just something you would check for.
Yeah.
Those look like really comfortable leggings that Deanna's wearing.
That's the big... there's going to be a lot of... You can tell how bad Jonathan Frakes' back is messed up. Because it's like, don't you think if you brought 3 prisoners on board your ship, you'd put the 2 women on beds and the man on the floor? But they put one of the women on the floor, because I don't think Jonathan Frakes could probably get up off the floor.
They have regained consciousness. Very good.
So the jailers are playing chess, and they beamed the women out of their clothes.
Which looked really cool. I mean, you can tell how they did it, but it still looked really cool.
I should have known. Even though Transformers can't be trusted.
Now, what's funny is that both of them, both Troi and Lwaxana, are used to being naked in public, because that's part of their culture.
Yeah, that's part of you go to a wedding and you show up naked.
Yeah.
So they should be comfortable with it. But at the same time,
there's no consent here.
Yeah, I think that in a culture like the Beta Zeds, it's all about, this is what I'm doing. You can either consent to it or not. If you don't consent to it, maybe we'll go somewhere else and do this. If I were to go up to a nudist and say, "Hey, baby, looking pretty good there," I think they would feel just as offended because they're objectified. And Ferengi, unfortunately, very much like to objectify women. Actually, I suspect that being naked has a lot less to do with sexuality and more about power.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you can't do. You can't even go outside.
Yeah, you don't have the right to wear clothes. Yeah.
So here's their telepathic communication on how to get out of this. They had to establish that in the beginning of the episode for the new folks that they could talk to each other telepathically, and then Deanna said, "Hey, we're in public. We shouldn't do this."
And also for later, that Riker was really good at 3-dimensional chess.
Oh yes, that's right. They had to introduce the game. So they made some kind of agreement here. They're sending Deanna back, but Lwaxana, she decided to stay and talk to the Daimon. So, I wonder how much of this set is old Borg ship.
Probably not a lot, because it may be current Borg ship, because that We've only seen one Borg ship, and it was mostly a map painting.
Ah, right. Or really tight shots of corridors.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. The heart-shaped bed. Not really.
Well, maybe a Ferengi's heart is square.
I'm just glad that there wasn't like a little machine coin box next to it.
Yeah.
There's the old uniform.
So back to the good part of this episode. Wesley, again, working with LaForge and Data, and they're going to tease him a little bit about what's going to happen after he goes to Starfleet Academy. They're like, there's no guarantee you're going to ever come back to the Enterprise.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting because, Wesley grew up in an environment where everybody just lives on the ship forever, but it's the military, you go where you're sent. I'd like to see a re-edit of some of these Star Trek episodes where they cut out everything from the A plot and it's just B plot episodes all the way through.
And I like Data, where he's like, I envy you. It's so much part of the human experience that things change. You shouldn't want to be on the Enterprise forever. Not to find a point on it, but don't turn into Riker. Accept the opportunity that things will change.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
kids don't like change.
No. And Riker is definitely a man-child. There he is. Again, stretching his back out. He's really good at integrating it into his character.
Right.
But now that I know how bad of a back Jonathan Frakes had and has, I can just tell.
I don't need your help. Hell, you don't.
He's trying to maneuver into being comfortable.
And he always has these really static positions. He doesn't move around a lot.
Listen to me. You only got one.
Reminds me of I watched the Tom Hanks Fred Rogers movie.
Oh, we're going to need to talk about that off mic.
Oh, okay. But one of the things they said is that Fred Rogers would just pick a position and he would just sit and he would never move.
Yeah.
And he didn't really care if people were uncomfortable or not. But that was one of his tools in engaging folks. And so that reminds me, when I see Riker here, he's just going to pick one position.
Yeah.
And he's going to turn his attention to the person he's talking to. I'm surprised you can even see the chessboard from that position and understand where they're at.
Well, he's going to tell this guy that he can't really see the chessboard.
You got to bring me a little closer.
Yeah.
Look at that. That light behind him looked like a big old robot nipple.
Indeed it did. I was thinking that it was a very strange looking light. Robot nipple didn't quite come to mind, but...
Like something from, what's that?
Heavy Metal.
Not Heavy Metal, or that really, really... Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The old one from the 30s.
Yeah, the Fritz Lang Metropolis.
Yeah.
So there's an amazing colorized English dub of that online. It's beautiful, yeah. I actually sit and watch the whole thing, but it's gorgeous.
There's a really good anime version of Metropolis that came out in the early 2000s.
I used to just blast the soundtrack to that.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Nice. It's so good. It's just all kind of jazz score.
So somehow...
We're going to find out about Ferengi's lobes for the first time here. Oh.
That's right.
And poor Troi!
She's
like, Mom's making out with a Ferengi and I got to find him. I got to feel every second of it.
Imagine having a link to your mom's mind while she's having sex with some random dude in order to get out of a kidnap situation.
Well, not only that, but to send you signals of like, I'm okay. Also, there's sex, and I'm okay. It's fine. Be okay with this. It's normal.
You know what I noticed about Brent Spiner, how he plays Data just now, is that he never looks down at his console. Like the other folks in the composition, they'll physically turn their head down and look at the console as they're working. Data will always keep his head forward to the view screen and then look down, and it almost looks like his eyes are closed, but he's just, the actor is looking down.
He probably knows, the feel of the button and the ding and the pop, and if he's got a scan for life signs or whatever. If he's not trying to find a specific number, he knows the noise it makes if life signs are found. And he's communicating with a computer as a computer, not as a person.
Right? In fact, he probably would have, if this was in a different era, it would be a tactile interface. So he could, or maybe he would just have that wireless Bluetooth connection.
He would have. He would have had a very interesting time with Tin Man, although I think Tin Man needed a human and not an android.
Yeah. So what's neat about this episode is that you have Troi playing the best of her game to manipulate the Daemon, and then you've got Riker at the best of his game and trying to outsmart his adversary. And Troi doesn't do much in this episode. She's just kind of along for the ride.
She's there to tell us that her mom is okay.
Now,
so we didn't know until this point that rubbing a Ferengi's earlobes was sexual.
Wow. Yeah.
And she, in fact, does not know that either. She just thinks that it's like a comfort thing.
Oh, he's telling her how to do it right here.
Yes.
Has anyone ever told you how attractive they are?
Some females think they are my best feature.
But yeah, Majel Barrett is great in this episode. I really don't have the problem with Lwaxana Troi that a lot of people do.
There's no translation.
She's herself.
Yeah.
But the ear is one of our most erotic shows.
The ear is one of our most.
Look at her eyes. She's wide open, like.
Which is why I love that Dax can just lube up and stick her fingers in a Ferengi's ear with no problem.
Oh well, because her value system is, I'm going to manipulate this guy, and I know exactly how to do it. I think that's why Quark liked her so much, is that she played by Quark's rules for her own benefit.
So now we found out that they need the Daemon's permission to send out a message from this ship. And this is a little bit original Star Wars, where they're in the computer chamber trying to get R2 to do it. And communicating with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So, I missed how Lwaxana got her clothes back. Like, was that part of an agreement?
There were clothes lying on the floor in that room, and they put them on.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't. There was no negotiation. There just happened to also be clothes in the room they were transporting naked into.
Message coming in from Beta Z, sir. Priority 1.
Now they find out that Riker's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
At last, we have been trying to reach you for 2 days.
This guy looks super familiar.
He does. I don't know who it is though.
Is there a problem?
I'm afraid so, Captain. Lwaxana, Deanna, and Commander Riker have disappeared.
Disappeared? Oh, he doesn't even. He just gives him a hard, concerned look.
So Carl Strickland, if you've ever seen a picture of him, he looks just like his character. Like they just changed the color tone of his face.
Yeah, no, I recognize that guy.
Oh yeah, he's still alive too. He's 71.
How repugnant. Oh, I said how romantic.
Repugnant and romantic are the same thing to Ferengi.
Yeah, kinda. Just a bit.
And that's why I'm Daemon of this ship. I take charge in every situation.
It's like
More than that.
you just hear Ferengi being like, "I prepared a bath for her, and when she entered, she farted the lowest, most deepest fart I have ever heard." Yeah.
Does your food synthesizer know how to make an Arcturian fizz?
So here she is doing her manipulation. She's going to try to get into the food synthesizer by coming up with a drink that, is basically, rhino horn for Ferengis.
Oh, jeez.
And he says doesn't know how to make it, so she's going to get his access code to...
Yes, my beloved. Computer access code. KE Yuri.
What are you doing, man?
I'm surprised.
You want your horny drink? Jeez.
I'm surprised he could just be allowed to walk into the captain's chamber like that.
I don't know. Ferengis like to watch.
Listen to him, Tom. No, he's misunderstood.
No, Tom, you have misunderstood. You have been tricked by a sly female.
Oh boy. Isn't that like a
So
crime?
don't you think that
You almost gave her complete access.
that would be kind of a kink in Ferengi society to be with a woman who's wearing clothes? Because it's distinctly, like, not Ferengi and, like, not of the norm. So, like, you got a lady on a bed next to you and she's, like, fully dressed and fully covered up.
Huh. Well, you'd
You're
have,
used to-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the goal would be to get her out of her clothes eventually.
But not necessarily.
Oh, true. Well, see, it's all about power
Yeah.
with them and social status. So this subordinate has no problems calling out the captain
Yeah.
because he could advance in social status by calling his captain out.
We did a sketch one time about reverse strippers, where it's like in Siberia, and they just have more and more clothes that they're able to put on. these prisoners are like sitting there freezing, watching the act.
I've heard of students doing striptease for studying before, like in college, where if you got something wrong, like you quiz each other, and if you got something wrong, you'd have to put on another layer of clothing.
Mr. Holm was no help. None.
No, Mr. Hom is there for comic relief and not much else, Mr. Worf.
Look how dry those flowers are from just being pulled out of the pond.
Yep.
Should those be dripping?
Dry flowers. So I want to say, for the HD version of this, they got a much better version of that planet, not a circular cutout of sky.
Oh, yeah.
There's like shapes and stuff down there. I may be wrong. I'll have to look at it at the end of it. I watched this actually on CBS All Access while I was at work yesterday.
If I narrow the band and tie in the long range sensors.
Is that all HD on there?
Yes.
Nice. Hey, take the flowers, guys.
Yeah.
Don't just leave it on the desk.
Not until we have someplace to go.
That seemed like they had like 30 seconds left of the episode. And we're like, what are we going to do? Have Data ask if they're going to leave orbit, have Picard tell him no, and have Data give him a funny look.
So they didn't get the code. Riker's a little frustrated. I'm surprised nobody's come down and checked up on them. They've had to have been down there for at least an hour or so.
What's going on, you wackadoo people?
Like this, warp field phase adjustment. All this does is suppress the subspace.
It's neat how he can read Ferenginese.
Yeah, that is really strange that he's able to do that.
He might be a really smart guy.
Yeah.
Because the universal translator I can understand, but there's still a lot of written language.
Yep, and we're seeing a lot of Ferengi language flash over the screen. Now we have our sinister doctor performing experiments on Lwaxana Troi, which Deanna is feeling all of.
So the doctor wanted to examine her why? To take advantage of her?
To figure out, yeah.
We have to help her.
Those Ferengis sure like their round lights.
They do. Okay, yes, they definitely cleared that planet up for HD. You can see continents and everything. It looks really good.
I just remembered how this episode kind of ended.
Yeah?
Where Wesley misses his school bus in order to save Riker.
It's like, sorry, we can't wait for the flagship. We gotta leave.
Ferengi transmissions are routinely scrambled.
See, I feel like, I mean, yeah, he had to do that to save him. He had to, Encyclopedia Brown, Hardy Boys, whatever it is that he's doing. But you got Geordi and Data working on it, who are, as much as they want to compliment Wesley, they are both more intelligent than Wesley is, and they would have figured it out.
True, but those three are kind of the dream team.
Yes, they are.
You can't break them up. In fact, I'd almost say you throw Barclay in there, too. If they actually were nicer to Barclay, that would be a great four-way combination.
Oh, totally.
Because when Barclay's not being socially anxious, he talks their language, he uses their same mannerisms and humor.
I was just on a date with a gal that rewatched the show and skipped every Barclay episode.
Oh no!
Yeah, I told her, we had some people that identify with Barclay. Not Dwight Schultz, but Barclay.
Now, there's only, about 6 appearances of him? Because he's in his entry episode, the Spider episode, the Moriarty episode.
And the Nth Degree.
Yep, the Nth. Okay, anything else?
That's it, yeah, so 4 episodes of STNG.
It was the static.
So, Wesley could have just beamed over and then opened up a comm line and said, hey guys.
He could have, but they freaked him out.
Yeah.
He sat in a room with LaForge and, sat out in engineering with LaForge and Data, and they were both like, if you leave the Enterprise, you might never come back.
Captain, I think
But that's why he came back.
He needed a reason to stay.
Yeah.
the interference itself could be a message. If I get a replay of the subspace scans.
That's cool. The ship's the Bradbury.
Well, Picard just ruined Wesley's chances.
Yeah.
He could have ordered him off.
Put on continuous replay.
I mean, they probably have other cadets they're taking to Starfleet Academy. They could, and also could have sent a shuttle to follow the Bradbury in theory. I mean,
so the Federation is a collection of hundreds of planets, thousands of planets?
Yeah, the only Starfleet Academy is on Earth.
That doesn't seem it seems like they'd have a manpower problem, because if they're only graduating a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand people each year, that doesn't seem like enough people to crew all these ships and stations and whatnot.
Well, no, I think, again, because the universe is so big, it's like, what it really is that, Starfleet seems like it's such a huge presence because we're always seeing Starfleet. In reality, they're not a huge presence.
It's kind of like the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing?
Hey,
Yeah.
where do you get that weapon? Wait a minute. I'll give you the weapon.
Damon talk. Captain Striker.
And now here's her gambit, which is going to just make Picard act a lot stupider than he ever needs to act.
What are you suggesting?
Let me be candid, Damon.
Well, Damon wants her heart. He doesn't want her abilities. He wants to actually...
Well,
win
her abilities are part of it. I mean, their whole life is, pursuit of profit. So it's...
Yeah. But he wants her willingly. That's the trick.
Mm.
A tempting offer. I would like to believe you.
We've seen that actor a number of times, too, as other Ferengi. They really do recycle a lot of their
Yes,
Ferengi.
they do.
Which is hilarious because with the Neelix actor playing a Ferengi actually felt very natural in that Voyager episode where they find the 2 guys who went to the Delta Quadrant.
Do this for me. Just this once.
And obviously she's communicating psychically with her daughter. Now, this happens a lot where you'll have a storyline where it'll seem like one thing's going on, but there's a psychic character communicating with everybody, and it will show later what's really happening.
I give you my word.
Most famously, the end of Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men.
The Enterprise has found us. Slow Greenpoint. Raise shield.
Probably not most famously, but one of my favorites, I should say.
Inform the Enterprise that 2 of our guests are ready to return. The other will be staying with us at her own request.
Oh man, which one are we getting back? Lwaxana or Deanna? Flip a coin. Flip a coin.
Picard, he's kind of put in an impossible position. Well, I don't really want her back, but we kind of have to take her back.
Perhaps is only the beginning.
Guys, did you hear that? Kif, inform the men. I made it with a woman.
Yes, sir.
Damar, inform the men.
Hey, you're right on top of us here.
Beamed onto the bridge.
Wesley turns around. Hey, Commander! Great shirt!
She doesn't want to.
Can I get my mom one for her birthday?
You know, his pants almost look like an upside-down cook's hat.
Yep.
Damon Todd responding.
They're pleated pants. Very interesting. Oh, boy. So, this right here is some true comedy gold in Star Trek. We don't see
I guess. I don't think it's in character for Picard at all. I think he would have done something. I think this is Patrick Stewart wanting to get silly and stepping away, way far away from the Picard character.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But it's so rare that they have comedy in this show. It's a relief. I mean, they go into it setting it up that it's silly.
It's not over between us, Lwaxana.
Now that's Picard being shy and not direct. That social coward part.
You return to my side immediately.
You mean you still care?
And then he switches the Shakespeare role, and now he gets his confidence. And I think that is very Picard, because I'm just acting, and I know Shakespeare from heart. Shakespeare.
I do not love thee.
With mine eyes, for thee 1,000 airs see, but 'tis my heart that loves what they despite. Oh, despise.
There's some great videos now of Patrick Stewart repeating poems in the dialect he grew up speaking.
I want to see that.
It's really good.
I've heard other people do it, but with him,
yeah, he's got this really heavy northern dialect he grew up with.
Listen, Tom, I must possess Lwaxana. If that means destroying your ship in the process, so be it.
Captain, I had no idea Lwaxana.
Don't let him threaten you.
Oh yeah, she's totally building him up.
It's over top. Dead body.
That can be arranged.
Yeah.
Let's go off. Arm phaser banks and proton torpedoes. If Lwaxana...
Worf's just like, yeah, how far are we going to take this?
Exactly.
This is pretty great.
Dear Diary, today I blew up a Ferengi ship. Also, that Troi woman's mother was on it. It was pretty good. I sat back in my chair and ate an entire ox haunch. Yes, the entire thing. And I sucked the marrow out of the bone.
Oh, man. I wonder if this is recorded just about the same time when Patrick Stewart was singing the alphabet song.
Could be,
on the bridge.
With his little hat.
Oh, she made it. And she sits
right on his
lap.
In front of the whole crew.
Well, he has to maintain the pretense until the screen is off.
They should have just ended this with Tom Jones singing She's a Lady.
She's a lady. Whoa, 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 she's a lady. Oh, she's totally turned on by this. It's like, hey, we could take this to your office right now if you want.
No, I'm married to a woman young enough to be your granddaughter. It's true, you know.
Yeah, right? Well,
not the time he wasn't.
Not at the time.
Because I don't think she was legal then.
They were just
they
friends.
had not met. Let's be kind. They are consenting adults. Yeah, snicker away, Wesley.
Well, hey, he got what he wanted.
And now the big moment.
Oh.
So
sorry.
You gotta wait till next year to take your orals.
He regrets missing the oral examination, but hopes that you will reapply next year.
Now he would have to retake all of his other tests too. It wouldn't just be the oral exam,
right?
They don't hold on to the tests for a whole year. I don't think.
When I was watching this as a child, I saw right through it. I'm like, there's no way it takes so many years to get into freaking school. It just you sign up, you go, you're out in a couple of years. But this whole remote learning business just seemed to really fail Wesley.
I'm saying goodbye to you.
Well, there was a whole series of books, and I have the Worf series. I've been slowly reading them about how Starfleet Academy works. I was just sorry they didn't have a Data series about it. There's a Picard series, there's a Geordi series, there's a Worf series.
In books, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the most interesting one would have been Data.
In my eyes, you're an acting ensign entitled.
So this is where our young man here is going to get a field promotion.
Yeah.
Field promotion to full ensign.
Oh, he gets the red shirt.
Yes.
And privileges of that rank.
You get to
And
lose
he's so happy he can't even talk. It's really sweet.
Dismissed.
He could have said thank you.
He's just so excited.
Yeah, I'm listening to an audiobook by Will Wheaton at the moment. He's actually got a really good speaking voice.
Yes, he does.
He
read Ready Player One.
Yep. Oh, did he?
Yes.
I'm in the middle of a book written by the same actor. Same writer.
Yeah.
I think it's called Armada. There he is! He's in Riker's old uniform. It's a hand-me-down. Doesn't look like it quite fits.
And all of the principal people on the Enterprise are there to congratulate him. His family is here.
Yeah.
It's Troy's family, it's Wesley's family, and it's this blue shirt here at Ops.
Yeah.
His was like
he's the guy that was taking orders from Wesley in the previous season, remember?
Oh, and they Star Trek happily ever after.
Yeah. Wow, well, we got to see a lot in this episode. Some really important things were kind of covered up, though, just with all the hijinks. So we had what? We had Wesley graduated.
We found out that Ferengi's earlobes are sexual.
We found out that Miss Lwaxana Troi and Deanna don't actually hate each other as much as they set out. We realized that Riker really can't move.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick Stewart's a Shakespearean actor. All in all, though, I still only give it 2.5 games of three-dimensional chess.
Yes, I would agree with that. This is definitely not a very good episode in the world of Star Trek.
It's got some gems hidden inside of it. That field promotion for Wesley, and just the family moments. Like you said, let's fan edit some of the B plots of some bad episodes together to make better episodes. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it.
I feel like this was just a slow day in the writers' room. It was like, guys, we got to come up with
something for Majel Barrett to do.
Yeah, we just need to have an episode in the wings. Like, it's kind of like a binder on the shelf episode where when the boss's wife decides to come down and do an episode, we pull this binder down. And so they probably just rented a cabin in the woods, had a lot of alcohol, and said, hey,
Majel Barrett and her geriatric mammary glands are coming on to do an episode. What do we do with it?
Well, with that, you said you gave it 3 out of 5?
No, 2.5.
2.5 out of 5. I'm right there with you, man. This is also a 2.5. So with that being said, we didn't really have too much to say about this episode, but we had a lot of fun watching it. We'd also we would like you to be redirected to our Shore Leave series. And then also we have a sister podcast. What is that called?
That is View from the Bridge, where Matt and I talk about Star Trek Picard. As of this recording, there are 2 episodes of that show available right now on Two True Freaks. But since this won't get released until May, we'll probably have an overview of the entire series of Picard by that point. But check us out there. We're in the Two True Freaks main feed. And big thank you to all of our supporters who help promote this show when it comes out. Chris Honeywell, Scott Gardner, Scott McGregor, the guys at the Deep Space Nine show, which is called Listen to the Prophets.
There we go.
J. David Weeder, who I interact with a lot, and I don't think I've ever said thank you to on this show. Paul Spataro, Bill Robinson, Andy Leyland. All those guys put together great Star Trek content, and you should be listening to their shows as well. David Clawwitter, of course, on YouTube, who is probably the most popular of all of us, and back when he was a little fish in a big pond instead of a big fish in a big pond, designed our logo for us.
Well, you know what they say, video killed the radio star.
Yep.
All right, well, with that in mind, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful day.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sasha, what's a Star Trek
Hi,
Next
I am
Generation?
the guest.
So Sasha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Glass Android by Lee Rosevere, Drops of H2O by Jay Lang. Audio engineering by Sasha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirschner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sasha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.